Let's play a game. I'm going to show you the stats of the 6 best point guards, in my opinion, in the NBA, minus Russell Westbrook, because his stats are pretty obvious. I'm going to show you the stats without telling you who these guys are, and I want you to tell me who you would want to be your team's point guard. Point guard number 1 averages 28.9 points, 5.9 assists, and he shot 46% from the field and 38% from 3. Point guard number 2 averaged 25.2 points, 5.8 assists, and he shot 47% from the field and 40% from 3. Point guard number 3 averaged 27 points, 5.9 assists, and he shot 44% from the field and 37% from 3. Point guard number 4 averaged 23.1 points, 10.7 assists, and he shot 45% from the field and 33% from 3. Point guard number 5 averaged 18.1 points, 9.2 assists, and he shot 47% from the field and 41% from 3. Point guard number 6 averaged 25.3 points, 6.6 assists, and he shot 47% from the field and 41% from 3. Now I know that's a lot of stats, so let me put the stats side by side. Here you go. I'll give you a few seconds to choose a point guard from the list. So if you chose point guard number 1, you chose Isaiah Thomas. If you chose point guard number 2, you chose Kyrie Irving. If you chose point guard number 3, you chose Damian Lillard. If you chose point guard number 4, you chose John Wall. If you chose point guard number 5, you chose Chris Paul. And finally, if you chose point guard number 6, you chose Stephen Curry. Now, if you read the title or saw the thumbnail, this video is about John Wall and why I think John is the second best point guard in the NBA, behind Russell Westbrook and above Stephen Curry, Kyrie Irving, and Chris Paul. Now I'm aware this is an uncommon and potentially controversial opinion, so let me convince you by comparing Wall with the other 5 point guards that I listed out. But first, James Harden is a shooting guard, and I left Kyle Lowry off this list because I wanted to have an even number of point guards. It was originally 7. Now, first of all, Kyrie and Wall. Looking at the stats, Wall averages 2.1 less points, but he averages 4.9 more assists than Kyrie. And it's no debate that John Wall is a great defender and Kyrie is a terrible one. Kyrie, though, does shoot better from 3, and he averages 1.6 less turnovers. However, I would argue that this is because Kyrie has LeBron, who takes a lot of the ball handling duties, and that gives him more open shots with the attention that LeBron gets, while Wall pretty much creates every shot that he ever gets for himself. Next, Isaiah Thomas versus John Wall. Isaiah averages 5.7 more points per game, which is definitely a decent margin, but Wall also averages 4.8 more assists. And again, Wall is a very good defender, while Isaiah Thomas is one of the worst defenders in the NBA. Damian Lillard averaged 3.9 more points per game, but Wall averaged 4.8 more assists. And again, I know I keep saying this, but it all comes down to defense, and Wall is a really good defender, and Lillard is also considered a god-awful defender. Chris Paul versus John Wall. CP3 has been a mainstay at the 3rd best point guard spot in the NBA for the past 3 or so seasons. Now here, I can't use the defense argument, because CP3 has the best defensive rating from any point guard in the NBA last season. So Paul is actually a better defender than Wall. But for offense, John averaged 1.5 more assists, but Paul had a better assist-to-turnover ratio as Wall averaged 1.7 more turnovers, which is definitely bad. And Paul did shoot more efficiently. However, Wall averaged 5 more points per game, which I think is enough to put him above Chris Paul. And also with the age thing, I expect Chris to drop off a bit this season, defensively and statistically, because he'll be playing with Harden. And finally, the argument that I'm not even sure about, Wall versus Curry. Now look, if you think Curry is better than Wall, I'm not going to argue with you much on that. I understand that opinion, but I would argue that at least this season, Wall has been better than Curry, and I imagine he will continue to be in the coming seasons. Looking at the stats, Curry averaged 2.2 more points and shot more efficiently, but he averaged 4.1 less assists. And once again, John Wall is a much better defender. Now, Curry isn't that bad of a defender, at least not as bad as Irving, Thomas, or Lillard, but he's definitely still below average and definitely below John Wall's level of defense. So I'm noticing a big trend here. Wall averages more assists and less points than everyone, except Chris Paul, and he's a much better defender than everyone except for Chris Paul. And if you want to argue team success, I think we both know that if Wall was on the Cavs, Celtics, or Warriors, all three of those teams would finish in the same spot or even better. And I know Wall has some flaws. He's not a great three-point shooter, though like I said, I think this is because he has to create pretty much all of his shots, so most of his threes come off of the dribble. And he averages more turnovers than all of these guys. But again, I'd say that's mostly a product of being the only creator on his team. Kyrie has LeBron, Curry has KD and Draymond Green, Lillard has McCollum. CP3 and Isaiah Thomas are the only two that I can't use that argument for because Thomas is the only creator on his team, and CP3, even though he has Blake, who's a great passer, Paul just overall is great at taking care of the ball. Still, I think John Wall is the second best point guard in the NBA. I'm sure plenty of you think different than me. I look forward to the debates in the comments. All I ask is that you remain respectful, no name calling or anything like that. That's the end of this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more NBA content like this, and cue the outro music.
I dare you play your cards, boy, you bet I'm a trendsetter too. Playing when the strobe hits you.
That's it, Brian?